To Pty or not to Pty? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous one-way taxes, or by incorporation in them. With apologies to William Shakespeare for mangling his most famous soliloquy. A Pty, or to give it its full extension, Pty Ltd, is shorthand in Australia for an incorporated proprietary limited company, similar to a limited in the United Kingdom or a simple Inc. in Canada or the US. It's one of the three most common methods for inward investors registering an entity or body in the country. And those other two are a simple ABN/GST, goods and services tax registration, or an Australian registered body number, an ARBN, or branch office if you like. There are other options for Australians, but these are the three most common options for inward investors, especially SME market entrants who aren't going on to the big ASX board, for example. And they can be likened to Olympic medals in that the simplest ABN, Australian business number, GST, goods and services tax registration is the most basic bronze level registration. The ARBN, or the local branch office, if you will, is the classic silver medal halfway house, and a fully incorporated Australian company, a Pty Ltd, is by far the gold standard. There are also understandably different in both the initial registration costs and fees and the annual fees and statutory costs that continue, with the gold standard being obviously more expensive than the bronze. I shall speak more to the other two in other FAQ shorts, but for now let me just cover the pros and cons of the Pty Ltd. First pro, fully incorporated, registered in Australia. The company is a legal entity in all respects and purposes and in perceptions, which may be the most important. You're entitled to all benefits that Australian companies are, including access to government funds, government schemes, government programs, for example, the Export Market Development Grant. And you're clearly able to reclaim any input tax as part of our GST BAS business activity reporting to offset any costs of GST you must add to your sales to your customers and clients. But there are some cons. As with any Australian entity, it is required to file actual annual tax returns with the ATO for your entire worldwide income. No exceptions. And if your turnover is in excess of $75,000 a year, which is, for most intents and purposes, most of our client base, then you're also required to file a business activity statement, either on a quarterly or an annual basis. And most importantly, in terms of the cost base, a Pty Ltd is required to have an Australian resident director and an Australian resident public officer, both of which can be the same person. And this is typically where we come into the conversation. So given the above and some other external factors, the initial and ongoing costs for a Pty are at the higher end of that spectrum, above what you might expect for the bronze and silver. There are other, perhaps less tangible, benefits in terms of perception to incorporating a Pty, and rather than establishing a branch office. And these are largely to do with perception in the eyes of your potential clients or customers. And this is especially true if, like some of our clients, you are dealing with public or government tenders, where even if an ARBN is technically enabled to be competitive in such a tender, the Pty Ltd carries much more of a gold tick or a standard of stability and commitment to market than an ARBN ever can. There's some other combinations which we kind of do for some clients. You can start as a silver ARBN and move on to a gold standard Pty Ltd. But the right option is very much a choice specific to your very specific company circumstances. Please contact us for a free discovery call. We'd be happy to discuss the options as they best fit you. This is J Warrick, your comprador in Australia.